Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are unlocking something truly magical. We're going to explore exactly how you can craft your very own manga or anime by combining timeless storytelling structures with some absolutely cutting-edge AI tools. Seriously? It's like a giant puzzle where we're taking the ancient rules of myth and snapping them right into place with modern technology. For this explainer, I want you to look at yourself as the hero of this creative journey. That blank page in front of you? I know, it's terrifying. It's literally the ultimate villain of any writer's life. But think of that page as your threshold, and we are about to cross it together.
Okay, let's dive into this architectural blueprint for mastering storytelling today. We'll start with the call to create. Map out the hero's journey. Introduce your supernatural AI aids. Look at a highly specific case study on narrative design and a retribution system. And then wrap up by showing you how to break the story mold entirely.
Section 1. The call to create. Sparking your narrative.
Before we get into the heavy mechanics, let's frame the creative process itself as a mythical quest, because that's really the ultimate foundation for building a compelling narrative arc. You don't need magic to start, you just need a spark. Let's look at this brilliantly simple quote from an anime framework guide on AutoWeb. Consider this your personal call to adventure. It proves you absolutely do not need every single detail figured out on day one. You don't need a perfect plot right now, which is great news for those of us who kind of make it up as we go. You just need a protagonist and a problem. That's it. That is the engine of your story. But to give that engine a chassis, we need a blueprint. Back in 1949, Joseph Campbell popularized a fascinating concept in his book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces. He called it the Monomyth. Think of this as the foundational structural DNA of stories where a hero goes on an adventure, faces a decisive crisis, and returns transformed. This is the exact proven template we're going to use to build our plot.
Moving right along to Section 2. The hero's journey. Mapping your story.
Okay, so before we even think about generating a single pixel of art with AI, we need to literally map out our script's pacing. Campbell essentially organized this journey into three main acts. First is departure, where the hero separates from their ordinary everyday world. Second is initiation, which involves a descent into a series of really tough trials. And third is the return, where our hero comes home fundamentally changed. This high-level framework provides the absolute perfect three-act pacing for any anime script you could ever want to outline.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how this terminology has evolved to be even more practical for writers today. Campbell originally had highly specific poetic names like Belly of the Whale. But in 2007, Hollywood producer Christopher Vogler modernized these into actionable steps, translating it to things like crossing the first threshold. Think about the 1977 film Star Wars for a second. George Lucas deliberately used this exact structure. That famous trash compactor scene on the Death Star? That is the literal belly of the whale. The hero is swallowed into the unknown, facing total annihilation before being reborn to fight another day.
Section 3. Supernatural AI aids. Equipping your hero. In the old myths, heroes always receive a magical talisman or they meet a wise guide. Well, for the modern creator, your supernatural aid is this incredible suite of modern AI tools. Hitting your character design fundamentals requires picking the right weapon. Models like Midjourney Niji 6, Stable Diffusion via Auroras, and Leonardo Phoenix are phenomenal because they intuitively understand the nuances of Japanese anime. And if you're making a manga, using specific panel layout terminology like asking for a double-page spread or dramatic speed lines with screen tone shading literally forces the AI to create incredibly professional, high-contrast manga-quality art.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the prompt you choose completely sets the stage. Look at the contrast here. A classic school character surrounded by floating cherry blossoms versus a dynamic samurai mid-slash. Highly specific language completely shifts the atmosphere and the potential plot of your story. The more precise your text, the more vivid and real your protagonist will be.
The same rule applies when generating your world, what the Monomyth calls the road of trials. Specifying an era, like 90s retro with the washed-out VHS color palette, gives a completely different feel than asking for a hyper-detailed Makoto Shinkai style with a golden hour lens flare. Referencing a specific studio is the ultimate hack for consistent world building. For example, explicitly asking for Studio Ghibli's soft watercolor warmth ensures your world maintains a distinct, nostalgic feeling scene after scene.
Precision is everything here. Using specific anime vocabulary gives you incredible direct control over the AI's output. You want that classic single strand of hair? Just prompt a hojei. Want a small, cute style? Use chibi. A pretty boy aesthetic? Be shonen. It is all about giving your supernatural AI aid the exact right instructions to get the exact right result.
Section 4. Narrative Design. An architectural approach.
So, now that we have our structure and our tools, let's apply them to a highly specific case study, a psychological thriller featuring betrayal and supernatural reincarnation. Every great plot operates on a web of hidden motives. Let's take our protagonist, Arthur. He starts as an empathetic, trusting visionary, right? But post-reincarnation, he transforms into an analytical, ruthless strategist seeking absolute justice. Now look at Clara. She spends 4 years cultivating an image of a devoted partner just to mask her deep greed, only to become a paranoid social climber trapped by her own fabricated alibis. Finally, we have Marcus. The charismatic corporate rival shifts into a calculating predator who suddenly finds himself facing an unexpected, systemic threat.
The pacing of this narrative relies on a masterclass in dramatic irony. We're looking at a 72-hour pre-reincarnation countdown. On day -3, Arthur notices anomalies, but rationalizes Clara's red flags, completely unaware they're actually liquidating his assets. On day -2, he discovers the synchronized cloud archive, proving his impending murder, but instead of confronting them, he quietly secures offline backups. Finally, on day -1, under the pretense of an anniversary at a lakeside estate, Clara administers a slow-acting neurotoxin. In his final moment of supreme agony and hatred, Arthur's consciousness is sealed, carrying his dying willpower across the veil of death.
Section 5. The Retribution System. The Mechanics of Justice.
So Arthur doesn't just come back. He comes back bound to an autonomous meta-intelligence designed to govern justice. So the crucial point is that this metaphysical entity elevates the standard revenge trope into a systematic, sophisticated study of justice and resilience. It's not about blind rage, it's about balancing a ledger through precise calculation.
And these are the specific mechanics that govern Arthur's new world. The system forces him to execute daily reconnaissance missions to uncover Clara and Marcus's hidden financial fraud. When he faces physical or legal threats orchestrated by Marcus, the system triggers survival trials. Successfully navigating these threats earns Arthur defensive cognitive upgrades to keep him one step ahead.
And it's all tied together by the retribution point economy. Arthur earns points not by violence, but by systematically dismantling his enemy's public reputation and financial security. This ensures that Arthur's revenge is truly earned through intellect, strategy, and relentless execution. No lucky coincidences here. It's all earned. Section 6. Breaking the story mold. Becoming the master of two worlds.
To truly succeed as a creator, you must take the classic structure, pair it with modern tools, and then evolve the myth itself. You see, the hero's journey is not static. It is culturally evolved over a century. From anthropologist Edward Burnett Tyler observing patterns back in 1871 to Campbell's publication in 1949, all the way to 1977's American Monomyth, which features selfless heroes like Jack Reacher who save a threatened paradise and then recede back off the grid, the structure is always adapting to the culture of its time.
And as a modern writer, it is absolutely crucial context to consider the academic and structural pushback here. Folklorists like Tolkien and Dundas argue Campbell suffered from source selection bias, essentially cherry-picking stories that fit his mold. Furthermore, frameworks like the heroine's journey, which you see in Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, or the myth of Cupid and Psyche, highlight that many underprivileged protagonists are navigating systemic patriarchal barriers. Under these critiques, heroes don't start with privilege. Their call to adventure is often completely involuntary, and they literally have to work twice as hard just to achieve equality.
Let's move to and see how this builds to our ultimate conclusion. Freedom to pass back and forth across the world division is the talent of the master. By understanding the ancient rules of myth and mastering the valid modern critiques alongside futuristic AI tools, you empower yourself to create breathtaking art that deeply resonates with audiences today.
You have the mythic structure, you have the AI tools, that blank page we talked about, it's literally waiting for you. So gather your supernatural AI aids, outline your plot, define your protagonist, and stop waiting. What universe are you going to build when you step across the threshold today? Keep creating, and I'll see you in the next explainer.